Gentlemen, it's time to face a hard truth about attraction that most men ignore. We've been conditioned to believe that the key to a woman's heart is more gifts, more texts, and more effort. You've likely spent weeks, if not months, bending over backward, trying to prove your worth through sheer persistence. But while you're busy performing, you're missing the psychological reality. Women aren't moved by how much you do, but by how you make them feel. A nice guy can spend a year trying to lower a woman's guard only to be outperformed in 10 seconds by a man who knows exactly what to say. When a man speaks from a position of absolute certainty and a strong internal frame, his words act like a master key. A single, well-timed sentence can bypass her logic and shatter her defenses instantly, creating a level of intrigue that no amount of expensive dinners could ever buy. Think about the women who have stayed up until 2 a.m. obsessively replaying a conversation in their heads or scrolling through a man's profile with a racing heart. In most cases, it wasn't his bank account or his car that triggered that response. It was the way he used his language to create tension. Most men fail because they talk too much. They are too eager to please, too quick to explain themselves, and far too predictable. That neediness acts like a repellent, signaling that you are easily controlled. However, the man who masters the phrases we're about to discuss doesn't just communicate information. He rewires her subconscious mind. He understands how to make a woman feel seen, desired, and even slightly off balance all at once. By shifting from a chaser mindset to a commander mindset, you stop playing the game by her rules and start setting your own. Stay focused, because the phrases you're about to learn will give you the power to flip every manipulation and power game used against you, turning you into the one who is pursued. The first major shift in power comes when you stop competing for attention and start valuing your own silence. Most men are terrified of a quiet moment. They feel the need to fill the air with nervous jokes, weak compliments, or long paragraph texts that scream for validation. But when you allow silence to breathe, you become a rare and high-value commodity. Scarcity is a fundamental rule of psychology. We only crave what isn't constantly available. When you drop the line, "I don't chase what isn't mine," you aren't just making a statement. You are launching a direct strike on the female ego. Suddenly, the comfort she felt in having you on the hook disappears. She is forced out of her relaxed state and into a spiral of overthinking. She begins to wonder why you aren't pursuing her like everyone else, and that uncertainty creates an immediate magnetic pull. A woman will never truly follow a man she can fully predict, but she will move mountains for the man who is genuinely willing to walk away. This leads directly into the second pillar of a strong frame, becoming unshakable in the face of emotional tests. It is a biological reality that women will push a man's buttons, withdrawing affection, creating drama, or going cold, just to see if he will crack under pressure. Most men fail this test by over-explaining, apologizing for things they didn't do, or trying harder to fix her mood. The moment you do that, you've handed over the keys to the relationship. However, when you look her in the eyes with total composure and say, "That doesn't work on me," you effectively kill the game. You are signaling that your internal state is not dependent on her whims. This creates an instant power shift. She realizes her usual weapons are dull against you. Instead of you being the one under the microscope, she suddenly feels exposed. You have transformed from a predictable toy into a formidable challenge. And in the world of attraction, the challenge is what fuels a woman's obsession. To become truly irreplaceable, you must master the psychological art of leaning back when she expects you to lean in. There is a specific kind of panic that sets in for a woman when the man she is testing suddenly refuses to play his expected role. Usually, when a woman creates distance, whether she stops replying quickly or acts emotionally cold, she is subconsciously waiting for the chase. She expects the frantic double text, the worried phone call, or the desperate plea to know what's wrong. When you disrupt that pattern by calmly stating, "I think you need space. I'll let you take it," you shatter her sense of control. This isn't an act of anger. It's a display of grounded masculine confidence. By giving her the space she pretended to want, you signal that you aren't terrified of losing her. This shift is lethal because it forces her to realize that you are self-sufficient. In her mind, the man who is genuinely willing to let her go becomes the one man she feels she absolutely cannot afford to lose. This power is further solidified when you learn to communicate desire without a trace of dependence. Most men believe that showing a woman how much they need her is a romantic gesture, but in reality, it often makes them appear disposable and predictable. There is something hauntingly attractive about a man who can look a woman in the eyes and convey the message, "I want you, but I don't need you." This distinction is the foundation of high-value attraction. It tells her that while you appreciate her presence and find her desirable, your life, happiness, and mission are already complete without her. This signals a mindset of abundance. It suggests that you have standards, self-worth, and other options. It creates a paradoxical tension where she feels chosen, but she also feels like she has to work to keep being chosen. Women don't want a man who is starving for affection. They want the man who is well-fed, but chooses to dine with them. When she realizes your world doesn't revolve around her, she will start revolving her world around you. The foundation of high-level attraction is built on the law of scarcity. Human beings are hardwired to overlook what is abundant and obsess over what is limited. If you are always available, replying to every message the second it arrives and showering her with constant validation, you aren't being romantic, you're being predictable. Predictability leads to boredom, and boredom is the death of desire. When you establish the frame that my attention isn't free, you have to earn it, you are performing a radical act of self-valuation. While this might temporarily bruise her pride, it simultaneously sends her interest through the roof. By setting a price on your presence, you stop treating her like the ultimate prize and start acting like one yourself. You are teaching her that your time and energy are reserved for those who bring value to your life, which forces her to step up her game to maintain your interest. This shift in the hierarchy becomes even more powerful when you refuse to engage in the jealousy games many women use to test a man's security. When she mentions other options or hints at other men's interest, most guys panic, get defensive, or try to outcompete the imaginary rivals. This is a losing strategy because it proves you are threatened. Instead, holding the line with, "I don't compete for women, women compete for me," places you on a metaphorical throne. This isn't about being arrogant, it's about a deep-seated belief in your own worth. By refusing to enter the race, you force her to wonder why you're so confident. Her mind will naturally assume you have other high-quality options, making her feel like a contestant in your life rather than the judge. She stops looking for reasons to leave and starts looking for reasons why she deserves to stay. Finally, you must understand that respect is the only currency that keeps attraction alive over the long term, and respect is built on boundaries. Many men believe that being understanding of bad behavior is a sign of love, but in reality, women respect consequences far more than they respect explanations. We will push boundaries, canceling plans last minute or being dismissive, simply to see if you have the backbone to stop us. If you tolerate disrespect, your value in her eyes evaporates instantly. By making it clear that disrespect me once and I'm gone, you draw a line in the sand that cannot be crossed. This communicates that your self-respect is non-negotiable and far more important to you than your desire for her. When a woman realizes that her access to you can be revoked the moment she mistreats you, she stops playing games and starts valuing every moment she has with you. True power in a relationship belongs to the man who is genuinely comfortable in his own company. Most men are paralyzed by the fear of being alone, so they tolerate toxic behavior and low standards just to keep a woman around. When you have the courage to say, "I'd rather be alone than with the wrong woman," you effectively break her illusion of control. This sentence is lethal because it proves that she is a choice, not a necessity. Most men treat a woman like a vital organ they can't live without, which gives her all the leverage. But when you communicate that your happiness is self-generated, the dynamic flips. She realizes that her spot in your life is a privilege that can be revoked if she doesn't meet your standards. Instead of taking you for granted, she begins to chase your approval, working hard to prove that she is the right woman for you. This independence is further reinforced by your ability to stay calm during emotional storms. Women often use high-intensity emotions, like crying, sulking, or anger, as a way to test your strength or gain leverage in an argument. Most men react by getting defensive or rushing to comfort her, which means she has successfully controlled your state of mind. However, by using an emotional mirror like, "You feel cornered right now, don't you?" You stop being a participant in the drama and become an observer of it. You aren't fighting her emotion, you are identifying it and handing it back to her. This makes her feel incredibly vulnerable because it shows her that her emotional weapons have no effect on you. When she realizes she can't pull you into the storm, she begins to respect your clarity and looks to you as the grounded leader in the relationship. Finally, a man of high value understands that every action must have a consequence, especially when it comes to his presence. A common power play is the disappearing act, where a woman ghosts or pulls away only to return later, expecting to be welcomed back with open arms. If you reward her for leaving by being overly excited or relieved when she returns, you are teaching her that she can disrespect you without any cost. By standing firm and stating, "You don't get to come back the same way you left," you kill the return test instantly. You are making it clear that the bridge she burned isn't automatically rebuilt just because she decided to show up again. This creates a culture of accountability. It forces her to realize that your time and affection are not guaranteed and must be re-earned through consistency and respect. The ultimate sign of a strong masculine frame is the refusal to engage in endless emotional negotiation. Many men fall into the trap of over-explaining their actions, trying desperately to make a woman understand their perspective. The problem is that every time you over-explain, you are essentially begging for her approval. When you state, "I don't explain myself" twice, you are setting a hard boundary on your energy. You are signaling that your words have weight and that you expect them to be heard the first time. This forces her to stop playing games and start paying attention. If she chooses to ignore or not understand your boundaries, that is her responsibility, not yours. By refusing to repeat yourself, you show that you are moving forward with or without her cooperation, which makes her realize that she is the one who must keep up with your pace. This level of authority is only possible when a man is truly rooted in his own purpose. The men who haunt a woman's mind the longest are never the ones who made her the center of their universe. They are the ones who were too busy building their own kingdom to orbit around her. When you tell a woman, "With or without you, I win," you are communicating the most attractive trait a man can possess, a mission that is bigger than romance. This isn't about being mean, it's about being honest. It tells her that while she is a valued part of your life, she is a chapter in your story, not the entire book. Women naturally crave to be part of a man's legacy, but they only respect that legacy if it's something you are willing to protect, even if they walk away. When she sees that your success and fulfillment are guaranteed by your own discipline, she will work twice as hard to ensure she remains a part of that winning journey. Finally, there is a specific type of regret that settles in when a woman realizes she has lost a man who was truly at peace with himself. Most men leave a relationship with bitterness, anger, or desperate attempts to stay in contact, which only proves they are still emotionally hooked. But the man who can deliver the line, "You'll miss me before I miss you," and then actually disappear, leaves a psychological wound that never quite heals. This is the forever replay line because it is rooted in a cold, hard truth. A man who thrives on his own is much harder to replace than a woman who relies on attention. Long after the breakup, when the temporary excitement of new options fades, she will remember your certainty. She will trace that sentence in her mind at 3 a.m., realizing that while she was playing a game of chicken, you were already miles down the road to a better life. You become the ghost memory she compares everyone else to, simply because you were the only one who didn't need her to be whole. Ultimately, it is crucial to understand that these 13 phrases are not just magic words or clever pickup lines. They are outward reflections of a deep internal shift in your character. If you use these words without the mindset to back them up, they are just empty sounds. True masculine authority comes from the fact that you aren't speaking to gain a woman's approval or to see how she reacts. You are speaking to define the reality of your life. While most men are constantly adjusting their behavior to keep a woman comfortable, a man with a strong frame sets the standard for what he will and will not tolerate. When your words are carved in stone, they carry a weight that people naturally respect. You aren't asking for permission to be the leader. You are simply leading, and in that space of certainty, women find the safety and attraction they actually crave. The core of this philosophy is simple but demanding. You do not beg, you do not fold under pressure, and you never chase what is running away from you. By consistently choosing your self-respect over the temporary comfort of someone else's attention, you prove to yourself and the world that you are the prize. When you speak with authority and hold your boundaries with total composure, you change the energy of every room you walk into. You stop being a spectator in your own dating life and start being the architect of it. As you move forward, remember that the world, and the women in it, will always react to the level of value you place on yourself. When you treat your presence as a privilege, others will start treating it that way too.